Welcome to the third part of our tutorial series to create a JavaScript Asteroids game. Currently our code does this. We can fly our ship around, and there are some jagged looking asteroids that randomly float around in space. So in this tutorial we're going to allow the ship to crash into the asteroids by using collision detection. So you can go ahead and download this code. I'll have it in the link below. So let's go ahead and create a flag called show bounding. Now this show center dot I created off camera. It's just a way for us to not delete code or not comment out code. So we can always allow our development settings to stay there. So for example, show center dot, if show center dot, draw the center dot. But we don't want that normally during gameplay. So it's a nice convenient way to turn that off. And we're going to do the same thing with our bounding boxes or our bounding circles. So set that to true to begin with. Show or hide collision bounding. So how are we going to represent our collision detection? What shapes are we going to use for our bounding boxes? Well, take a look at the game. I'm thinking the simplest way is probably to just use a circle for everything. So our ship would be represented with a circle, and each asteroid would be represented with a circle. It's not exact, but it's a close approximation, and I think it will do for such a high-speed, simple game. So let's go ahead and use circles. So let's draw our circle down in the update function where we draw our ship. So draw the triangular ship. Just after we do that, we will say if show bounding. So if our bounding flag is on, we want to set the color. So the stroke style will equal, say, lime. Pick a color that stands out. We want to begin a path because that's how we do a circle. And context.arc. Now we need a center point, which is going to be the center of the ship. So ship.x, ship.y. And then we're going to use the ship's radius. The start angle is 0. The end angle is 360 degrees, which is just math pi times 2 in radians. And false for that final flag. Finally, we just need to draw the stroke itself. Let's test that out. Yeah, so we've got a bounding circle around our ship. Similarly, we want to do the same thing for each asteroid. So go down to where we draw the asteroids, just after we draw it, before we move it. Paste that in there. But instead of ship.x, we just want x, because we've already declared x to be the ship's x, sorry, the asteroid's x, y and r. Let's test that out. Yep, so each asteroid's got a circle around it. The only problem is that the color of the circle's gone through to the asteroid. We can fix that up by just changing where we set the color of the asteroid. So currently we're setting it before the for loop. Just paste that into the start, at the start of the for loop. So it'll do it every iteration. Give that a go. Great. So what's our goal? Our goal is when the circle of the ship touches the circle of any of the asteroids, the ship will blow up. So first things first, I think we'll need to take out the moving of the asteroid. So how about we just stick to our drawing? So in our update function, we're drawing the ship and we're drawing the asteroids. Let's take out the movement and put it elsewhere. So here we're rotating the ship and moving the ship, so we'll place the asteroid stuff after that. So move the asteroids. We'll have to do another for loop here. For var I equals 0. I is less than roids.length. I plus plus. And just encapsulate that. And test it to make sure that we haven't broken anything. Yep, it's still working. So the asteroids are still moving. Next, we want to check for collisions, for asteroid collisions. So just copy this first line of the for loop. Now before we start moving everything, so before we start rotating the ship, let's check for asteroid collisions. Right, so we're going to cycle through every asteroid and check whether the distance between, so this is a function we made before, distance between points. So the ship's x value, the ship's y value, and the asteroid, so roids I dot x and the roids I dot y. So if the distance between the individual asteroid and the ship is less than the ship's radius plus the roid's radius, so the asteroid's radius, that means the circles have overlapped. What will we do there? How about we just call a function called explode ship, which we haven't made at the moment. So if we run this now, it should try to call this function and break. It should stop working. So let's try it. Right, so we've got the ship. Let's try to crash into an asteroid. Yeah, it's broken. So as soon as those two circles met, it's tried to call that function and broken. Good. That means it's working. Okay, let's create that function explode ship. First of all, just copy this this code here to create a circle. So up in this function, so function explode ship, let's just create a circle. Let's create a filled circle. So it's an obvious sort of graphical indication that the collision detection is working. So create a fill style, the same color, lime. The x and y coordinate will be the x and y of the ship, as well as the radius of the ship. And we'll also call the fill method. So we'll be calling a fill and a stroke. Let's test that. So when we collide into a asteroid, come on asteroids, where are you? There's one down there. We should change to a filled circle. Awesome. And when we leave, we're no longer filled. Good. That means our collision detection is working very well. Great. Okay, what do we ultimately want to do here? I'm thinking we should set, so I'll just cut this. I'm thinking we should set some property of the ship. Let's call it, say, explode time. Explode time. And that will equal, we'll say it's equivalent to the number of frames left in the explosion. So that'll equal some constant, say ship explode, say duration, multiplied by, so that'll be in seconds, multiplied by the frame rate to get the number of frames. Because we want an integer, we should probably find let's say seal. We'll round up in effect. Okay, so let's create this ship explode duration constant. Ship explode duration, and it'll be in seconds, so just choose a number, 0.3. So this will be the duration of the ship's explosion. Right, where we set up the ship initially, we'll have to give that an explode, what do we call it? Explode time. Initially it'll be 0, won't it? That means there'll be 0 frames left of exploding. And that's how we're going to detect whether the ship is exploding or not. When explode time equals 0, it's exploding. So go down to the update function. How about the first thing we do? Just create a variable. So it's going to be a boolean called exploding. And that'll equal ship.explode time equals 0. No, greater than 0. So if the ship's explode time is greater than 0, that means the ship is exploding. Okay, so where will we draw this explosion? I'm thinking instead of drawing the ship, we'll draw the explosion in its place. So if not exploding, we'll draw the ship. Else, we'll draw the explosion. What will the explosion look like? Well, I'm thinking just some circles to keep it simple. So here, we'll copy and paste this code here. But we'll use filled circles. So fill style will equal red. The ship's radius, how about we try times by 1.5, say. And we need to call the fill method. And how about we work inwards? So we'll start with the outer circle, which is red, and then we'll make, say, 3 more. red, orange, yellow, and say white for the middle. We'll change these radius percentages. How about we'll decrement it by 0.3 each time. So 0.9 here and 0.6 for the inner circle. Let's take a look at that. Crash into a asteroid. It's looking okay. Maybe a bit big in the middle, and maybe we need another ring on the outside, I think. And we'll get rid of that bounding. So I'll turn that to false, show bounding. Explosion, where are you? Here we are. So what did I say? Maybe make it a little bit less in the middle, so reduce that by 0.1. So that'll be 1.1, that'll be 1.4. And we'll also do one more ring on the outside, a bit of a darker red. I assume dark red is a HTML color. And change that to 1.7. Let's see what that looks like. So there's no bounding circles now. Let's crash. Yeah, that's pretty good, I reckon. We'll stick with that one. If you go back to our game, just restart that, you'll notice that when we crash into an asteroid, we can continue moving and our thruster is still working. That's not what we want. We kind of want to stop in place and just explode. Okay, so let's fix that now. So let's go up to our thruster. So just up here, draw the thruster. We don't want to do that when we're exploding. So if exploding, that should be if not exploding. If we're not exploding, then we're happy to draw the thruster. Okay, let's try that out quickly. Yep, so there's no thruster coming out the side or the rear of the explosion. That's good. Also, we don't want to be moving the ship. So go down to where we move our ship. Here we go, rotate the ship, move the ship. We also don't want to be checking for asteroid collisions, so we can include that in here. So if not exploding, we don't want to rotate, we don't want to move, and we don't want to check for collisions. Let's test that. So I'm pushing forward, bang. I'm still pushing forward, trying to turn, nothing's happening. Great. So what happens when the ship is exploding? Well, we can handle that here in an else. So else the ship is exploding. We want to take the duration of the explosion into consideration. So we can do that by ship.explode time minus minus. So we'll reduce the amount of time left on the explosion. Now what happens when that reaches 0? So if ship.explode time equals 0, that means we should end the explosion. So how about we create a new ship? So ship will equal new ship. Now new ship's just a method I'm just creating. Well, we'll go create that now. So new ship. Now all it will do is basically this. So where we set up the initial spaceship, we'll just cut that. We can change that to new ship. Go down to where we, just after new asteroid, we'll create new ship. Function new ship. And what does it do? It just returns that thing that we had copied. Okay, let's test that. Okay, so we'll fly our ship into an asteroid. Bang. And we're resetting. Now there is one issue with this. What if the asteroid is coming towards our initial restart position, like this? Bang, 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 bang. That's no good, is it? How the original game handles this is by allowing the player to blink for a few seconds before they start the game, and this prevents any explosions from occurring, so like an invulnerability or an invincibility or something similar. So let's implement something like that. We'll need to go up the top and set some parameters here. So how about we have an invisibility duration, or invulnerability duration. We'll set that to say 3 seconds. Duration of the ship's invisibility in seconds. And we'll also want to know how long is each individual blink during that invisibility. So we'll call that, say, ship blink duration. And it can equal, say, 0.1 second. So 0.1 second it will stay off, 0.1 second it will turn back on. Duration of the ship's blink during invisibility in seconds. Okay, go down to where we create our ship. We'll need to set up a couple of properties here. So we'll have one called, say, blink time. That'll be we'll round up, so math seal. It'll be equal to the ship blink duration times the frame rate. So the frame rate's 30, right? Blink duration is 0.1, so there'll be 3 frames. Every third frame it'll blink on and off. And we'll also want to have the blink number, keep track of the blink number. So that will be equal to the ship invisibility duration, so that's 3 seconds, divided by the ship's blink duration. So that'll be a total of 3 divided by 0.1, so 30 blinks. So there'll be 15 off and 15 on. That sounds good. So just down below in our update function, let's create another variable called blink on, say. Blink on, and that will be equal to, well, let's say that when the blink number is even, then we'll be blinking on. When it's odd, we'll be blinking off. So we can handle that by using, so ship.blink num mod 2. When that equals 0, so when the remainder of dividing that by 2 equals 0, that means it's an even number. Else it's an odd number, right? So where we draw our ship, so if not exploding, inside there, so if blink is on, if blink on, we want to draw the ship. And how about underneath that we handle the situation, we'll just say handle blink, handle blinking. So we need to, so if the ship blink number is greater than 0, that means we have to do something here. How about we reduce the blink time? So that's what's keeping track of the blink duration. So blink ship dot blink time minus minus. And we also want to reduce the blink num. Blink num. Reduce the blink num. So that's if ship dot blink time equals 0. If that equals 0, then we want to, well, we have to reset that, don't we? So ship.blink time will equal math.seal, rounding up, the ship's blink duration times the frame rate. And we'll also decrement the blink num. So ship.blink num minus minus. Hopefully that should work. Okay, it's a blink, and it lasted a number of seconds. So let's see if that works after we smash. 1, 2, 3. Yep, good. It seems to be working. The only thing we haven't done is that we haven't incorporated invulnerability yet, have we? We haven't changed the collision. We haven't included blink in the collision control. So let's deal with that now. So let's go down to where we handle collision control. Move the asteroids. Here we go. So check for asteroid collisions. So we only want to do that if the ship's blink num equals 0. So that means we're not currently blinking. If the ship's blink num equals 0, we'll handle collisions. So if it doesn't equal 0, it'll ignore collisions. It'll make us invulnerable. Let's test that. We'll probably need to bump up the number of asteroids a bit. So asteroid num, let's make 30. Okay, so we're invulnerable. Bang. Yep. Bang. So we're invulnerable while we're blinking. Oops. Let's see if I can not hit one. Good. So I'm not just blinking all the time. Bang. Now I'm invulnerable. Oh, one thing I noticed is that our thruster is still not blinking. We should probably make that blink. Let's go back and fix that. So just reduce that back down to 3. Head down to where we draw our thruster. So draw the thruster, if not exploding, and blink on, then we'll draw the thruster. Let's test it. Yep, so our thruster is blinking as well. Let's crash into an asteroid. Bang, are we still invulnerable? Yes. Just smash into an island. Yep, everything looks to be good. So that's the end of today's tutorial. So we've looked at collision control and blowing up the ship. In next tutorial, we'll probably focus on shooting, so using the laser of the ship by pressing the spacebar and blowing up asteroids. Until next time, see you then. Bye.